Hello my dear children, welcome to English class. Today I am going to teach you chapter 2 of your English textbook, The Nuclear Test. The Nuclear Test, which is a small story of grandparents and their granddaughter. How the granddaughter reacted when the grandparents visited her home. This you are going to learn, this you are going to know in this story. When I read out this story, you will come to know that what is the reaction of that granddaughter when the grandparents visited her home. Now, shall I ask you some questions? Do you enjoy your grandparents' company? Do they live with you or do they live somewhere else? If they are not living with you, do you visit them often? Or if they are living with you, do they help in your homework? You have to answer all these questions to yourself. Okay. Now I am going to read this story. You have to listen to the pronunciations carefully. Okay. Now I am going to start the story.
Amma, why are you removing all my things from the cupboard? Anjali asked in a voice which sounded like she was ready for a fight. You already know, Anjali, Dada and Dadi are going to need some place for keeping their things, her mother replied firmly. Now let's see the hard words and their meanings. First one is cupboard. Cupboard means a closet with a door. Second one is firmly, which means strictly, or we can also say as forcefully. Here you can see the picture of cupboard. Cupboard means a closet with a door. Now when the Anjali's mother was removing all the things from the cupboard, Anjali asked to her mother in a voice which sounded like that Anjali was ready for a fight, and she asked her mother that why are you removing all my things from my cupboard? Then her mother replied firmly. Firmly means forcefully or strictly. That Anjali, you know that your Dada and Dadi means your grandfather and grandmother. They are coming here to stay with us. So they need some place to keep their things, to keep their belongings. That's why I am removing your things from your cupboard. Now let's see the next paragraph. But Ma, where will my things go? This has been my room since I was a baby. Why should I give up everything just because Dada and Dadi are coming to live with us? Cried Anjali. Come on, Anju, you are not giving up everything. You are only going to sleep on the couch in the hall instead of in this room. And your things can be accommodated elsewhere, replied her mother, trying to be sensitive but feeling rather exasperated with her daughter's endless objections. See the hard words and their meanings. Couch, which means a long, comfortable seat, also called as sofa. Exasperated, which means irritated. After that, Anjali started crying and she was asking her mother, Ma, where will my things go? Where will I keep my things now? This is my room. Since I was a baby, I used to stay in this room only. Now, why should I give up my room to Dada and Dadi just because they are coming to live with us? Why should I lose everything just because of them? Anjali's mother was feeling exasperated. Exasperated means irritated with her daughter's endless objections, with her daughter's endless opposition. And she was trying to be very sensitive to her daughter, and she said to her daughter that, come on, Anju, you are not giving up everything, you are not losing everything. Now you are going to sleep on the couch in the hall instead of in your room, and I will accommodate your things somewhere else. This is how it had been ever since Anjali had been told that her grandparents would be living with them from now on. They had recently sold off all their land in the little village where they had lived most of their life. Dada was nudging 70 now and was too old to be able to run the farm all by himself. He had promised he would not leave his beloved land till he dies, but he was finding it more and more difficult to live there alone. All his children had migrated to the cities. Two of Anjali's chachajis were abroad. Only Papa lived in Pune while Rita Bua was in Delhi. Dada had been persuaded by Anjali's father to come and live with them. Papa wanted all of them to be together as a joint family. He could then take care of his aging parents. See the hard words. Nudging. Nudging means push gently, migrate, move from one place to another. Next one is abroad. Abroad is a foreign country. Persuaded, which means urged. Now, Anjali had been told by her parents that now her grandparents would be living with them only, as they had recently sold off their land, which was in the little village where they spent most of their life. And Dada was touching 70 now. He was about 70 years now, and he was too old to run his farm by himself. And he was finding it more and more difficult to live there alone. All his children, all the children of Anjali's grandparents, they had migrated to the cities. Migrated means shifted from one place to another. And two of Anjali's chachajis, chachaji means Anjali's uncles, they were abroad. They were living in a foreign country. And only Anjali's father lived in Pune. While her bua means her aunt, Rita, she was living in Delhi. Dada had been persuaded, had been urged, requested by Anjali's father to come to Pune and live with them, because Papa wanted all of them to be together like a joint family. Only then he could be able to take care of his aging parents. Now let's see the next paragraph. Of course, Anjali enjoyed meeting her grandparents during her holidays, but that did not mean she was going to be happy giving up her room for them. Anjali was an only child. Never in her life had she liked sharing anything, and she was not ready to change now. And so it was that when her grandparents came, Anjali was fussy, irritating, and British worst. She made a big hue and cry over how she had lost her room. When she was not making rude comments, she would not talk much and pretended to be glued to her favorite program on the TV. She was not very polite and complained, though not directly, for she was afraid of her father's wrath. Now let's see the hard words and their meanings. Fussy. Fussy means difficult to please. Bratish means badly behaved child. And wrath means anger. Anjali enjoyed meeting her grandparents during her holidays. But that did not mean that she was ready to give up her room for them, as she was an only child of her parents. She never liked sharing anything in her life, and even now she was not ready to change herself. And now, when her grandparents came, Anjali was fussy, irritating, and British worst, which means for her mother it was very difficult to please Anjali, and she was behaving like a very badly behaved child. She made a big hue and cry, means she made a loud fuss over how she lost her room. And now she was not she was not making any rude comments, but she was pretended to be glued, to be fixed to her favorite program on the TV. She was not very polite and she was not complaining at all now. No, though not directly, but by her behavior we can come to know that how she is behaving with her grandparents. She is not passing any comments, but she pretended to be glued. She pretended to be fixed to her favorite program on the TV. Why she was not passing any rude comments? Because she was afraid of her father's anger. She was afraid of her father's wrath. It was true having grandparents living with them needed adjusting to a new routine. They were used to a different way of life. They woke up much before anyone else did, and that made things awkward. Dadi was forever doing some puja or the other, and if there was objection to onions in the food one day, it was eggs the next. They would not go with them to eat out in restaurants. They would not watch movies in theaters. They would not enjoy shopping just for fun. They thought strap dresses were too foreign and short skirts totally avoidable. Pop music was noise, and ice creams were not good for health. Hard words and their meanings. Awkward, which means lacking in grace. Addiction. Addiction means strong attraction. It was difficult for Anjali to adjust to a new routine as her grandparents they have a different way of life. They woke up early in the morning and that made things awkward means lacking in grace or difficult or hard to do with. Dadi was doing puja early in the morning or the other things. And if there were objection to onions in the food one day, there was objection to eggs. And even Anjali's grandparents, they would not go out with them to eat out in the restaurants. And they would not watch movies in theaters and even they would not enjoy shopping just for fun. For her grandparents, strap dresses means it was too foreign and short skirts are totally avoidable. And for Anjali's grandparents, pop music was too noise and ice creams were not good for health. So this is all about the part 1 of the prose, the nuclear test. Okay students, bye. Thank you.